Mi nombre es Eduardo Martínez, soy de nacionalidad colombiana. La tradición que ejecuto son la tradición de los tambores de amarre, los tambores de cuña y cincho. El folclore del Caribe colombiano está basado en eso. La preservo en todas partes del mundo donde llego, dando clases, enseñando, y esa es la forma de siempre preservarla, además de intentar siempre de tener una retroalimentación, es decir, volver al Caribe es retroalimentarse siempre. No puede haber para los afrodescendientes, para todo lo que llega de África, para esa cultura que llega del Caribe, sin una cosa no existe la otra. Hay ritmo, hay tambor, hay baile. En la misma creación es así. Puede haber un baile y se hace el ritmo y se hace el tambor. Es un matrimonio que siempre se mantiene junto. No puede haber otra forma de entender ese tipo de tradición sin que siempre estén unidos. Bueno, según muchos investigadores, fundamentalmente África Central, y tiene que ver mucho por los trabajos que se han hecho en República Democrática del Congo. Hay muchos antecedentes por la similidad en algunos tambores y en investigaciones hechas hay cosas que denotan un parecido a lo que llegó al Caribe colombiano. Los nombres de unos ritmos colombianos: garabato, chalupa, mapalé, bullerengue, cumbia, entre otros. Bueno, la espiritualidad está amarrada al tambor, fundamentalmente. Lo que hay es que dividir entre qué tambor tiene una conexión con esa espiritualidad. Es decir, estos tambores, por ejemplo, los del Caribe colombiano, están hechos para tocar ritmos que la gente los utiliza para fiesta, para el carnaval, para que la gente esté reunida bailando. Esa es la conexión. Su origen es festivo. En las Antillas, en el Caribe, hay tradiciones, hay tambores que tienen una conexión directa con la espiritualidad. Valencia y en Cartagena se dio el fenómeno de los cimarrones. Entonces, ahí es un proceso diferente que en otras partes de las Antillas. Es decir, que ellos formaron su comunidad, su país, aparte dentro del país, y pudieron desarrollar la ejecución de sus instrumentos. Estos tambores fueron y son construidos todavía de forma artesanal. Es el tronco de un árbol que después lo abren artesanalmente, le hacen un hueco al tambor de forma artesanal. Este es el tronco de un árbol. El cuero que están utilizando ahora es un cuero de chivo. Su forma de afinación es una forma de cincho y cuña. Así, se hace una malla y se pone la cuña para que estire el cuero. Por eso el sistema se llama cincho y cuña. Sistema que es utilizado en África. Esa es la función o es la estructura de tambor. Antes se utilizaba el fique que está ahí abajo y ahora se utiliza en algunos casos el plástico, pero su estructura se sigue manteniendo igual. La estructura folclórica como se hizo antes, como lo tocaron nuestros ancestros, seguimos nosotros haciéndolo.
Makuta Nikki Campbell. I was born in Panama, Colon. Pretty much grew up in Los Angeles, California as well. But in my country, in the Caribbean side of the coast, Colon is very multicultural and is predominantly where most of African descendants reside. I identify myself as an Afro-Caribbean woman, Afro-Latino, Panamanian. Congo tradition of Panamanian cultural tradition, the heritage, which just became the patrimony of the UNESCO in 2015. So this tradition is 500 years old, 510 years old. Okay, the purpose was in that time was to basically, it was a form of communication. So there was all these codes and messages that were happening between the dancer and the drummer. And so each movement had a code. Each movement had some sort of communication. So the purpose of that too was also to bring community together, the society, to bring the community together, to interact, to bring, they will sing about joy, they will sing about their sadness, but also as a way to distract the slave owners. When it comes to Panama and the Congo tradition, there are many different tribes that arrive in Panama, in the coast, the Caribbean coast, and also the Pacific coast. So when the Spanish brought the Africans They were bringing them from different tribes, different areas of Africa. There's no specific country that to say like, oh, it came from this specific country. They came from many different ethnic groups, many different countries. Until today, we have those what we call palenques, which are like villages. Each name on each palenque has its own name, and some of the names are derived from the country they came from. We were able to differentiate who was which tribe was by their specific palenque leaders having the last name of that specific group. The spiritual aspect of drumming and the spirituality of drumming is it's tricky in its own way. When I say tricky, meaning it can be a secrecy within this tradition. It's not talked about as much, but it does have its spirituality. It does have its roots in Africa, and it does have those syncretism, because Africans at the time, what they did was adapt to the new environment, and what they practiced, they synchronized it with their environment. So at that time, it was Spanish, it was Catholic, so they synchronized that. So the spiritual aspect within drumming goes with the natural environment of where they are. Everything has to do with nature. Everything is connected through nature, through our spirit, from our spirit. The drum itself, it's alive as a tree. It has an animal skin. All of that is it's all spiritual right there. It's all the connection. That's the spirit of the drum. This is medicine. Drumming, dance, all of that is medicine. It all started in the villages. It all started in the palenques. We gathered as a community, we gathered as one, and we sang, we drummed, we played, and everything has its purpose. Every rhythm, every song, everything.
My name is Arthur Sonny Hill, and I am a practitioner of Palomonte tradition of Cuba. I'm a ritual drummer for that tradition and also a conductor of ceremonies as well. Because it's a spiritual tradition, drumming and dancing is very, very central to it, especially for a lot of the ceremonies. The drumming has the aspects of creating vibrations that bring down spirits, also people embodying spirits also through dance. And so the dancing and the movements a lot of the times, along with the drumming, create the force for a spirit to come down and to embody in a person that's dancing. The general name for drum in Central Africa is Ingoma. Like where you find in West Africa, you find djembe. People like djembe in West Africa, people automatically know what that is. Central Africa is Ingoma. Ingoma has a lot of different shapes, but the most standard shape is cylindrical. They usually would use like an ox skin and they would tack it on. But then you would have to heat it with a fire in order for the skin to tighten down. The Makuta drum is kind of thought to be the predecessor for Conga drums, because the Makuta drum is very similar to this drum, but maybe bigger, maybe like that tall, but the shape is the same. Ingoma drums, which would be like yucca drums, they would use fruit trees because fruit tree is a very like durable wood. They would carve out the center of it and then they would just put a head on it. So the original drums were pretty much like carved out of one log, and then you would put a head on it, tack it on. Makuta drums were more like staves, like with Conga drums. So those were more like barrel drums in design. And so Conga's kind of derived from that. The Palo Monte tradition stems from Central Africa, specifically the Kingdom of the Congo, which is today Democratic Republic of the Congo, Angola, Congo Brazzaville, and Gabon. And so all of these people were brought from those different areas to Cuba, and Palo Monte is a conglomeration of all of those different regions into one cultural, spiritual tradition. The style that I play is from Matanzas, and so we usually play with sticks when we play. And styles from Havana and other places, they may not use sticks. They might just use only their hands. The Toque de Palo rhythm is pretty primary. It's pretty very hard driving rhythm because the spirits in Palo, there's a lot of heat identified with them. And so there's a lot of times a lot of heat and aggression attached to how the spirits come, how the people dance. Congo people were very like warrior-like people, so it kind of translates in the way that their rhythms and their dance, how the dance is embodied, very strong and aggressive movements a lot of the times.
I play Puerto Rican bomba, and I help preserve Puerto Rican bomba tradition through sharing it as much as possible. Bomba drumming originates from West Africa, where the majority of enslaved Africans were taken from. And so in particular, we know that there are many wonderful civilizations in West Africa, Songhai, Mali, Ghana, but as well there was civilization in the Congolese and the Congo and the Bantu language group. Puerto Rican bomba, we have several different instruments. We have the maraca that keeps the time. We have the guas, which are sticks played on the side of either a drum or a metal surface that also keep the time according to the different rhythm that's being played. And then we have song. Song is a call and response, a beautiful tradition that you can see throughout Africa. And of course, in the diaspora, including in North America, in churches and everywhere. It's call and response, right? And so that's another part of bomba. And the last part, not the last part, but another important part is the drumming and the dance. So the drummers are keeping rhythm, creating the space along with the singers, along with the gua, along with the maraca, in a circle called a bate. And the dancer comes out individually with the rhythm of bomba and expresses themselves according to what the song is emoting. And they express themselves corporally with music. And what happens is that they're actually communicating with the lead drummer and creating music. The lead drummer has to interpret spontaneously on the spot what the dancer is doing in what's called, they're called moves that are called piquetes. And piquetes are structured improvisation. And so the dancer is creating music, the drummer is interpreting, and so together while everyone else is holding up the space, there's creating music and expressing themselves and healing. And that's the power of bomba, and that's the power of the dance. If you look at bomba drums, you see that they look like barrels, and that's because that's exactly where they come from. Another name for bomba drums is barriles, or barriles de bomba. And so what did people have, what did Africans have, what did people in the coasts of Puerto Rico who developed this genre of music have? They had available to them were barrels, because barrels were used for merchandise. Some of the first drums, the earlier drums, and we have pictures of some of them, had tacks on them. And they just tacked the drum tight on it, and they would tune it with a fire. Later, it developed to be more like a djembe. Maybe you've seen a djembe, the drum that's shaped like this, with rope and a system where kind of if you working with the ropes, you tune the drum and make the skin tighter. And so bomba drums had a system that way, where they use a stick about this thick, and with a mallet, you hit the mallet here, and then you turn it around, and that tightens the rope around the rim of the drum, and that tunes the drum and makes it tighter, and you do it around. Eventually, it evolved to have just like conga drums that you've seen, with metal hooks that are tuned with a wrench or with a tuning wrench. There's a beautiful connection between spirituality and drumming. Everyone here has a spirit, and we feel our spirit swell and grow and infect others with beautiful creativity and love when we feel good and we are creating and partaking in art. And so art in general is already a beautiful medicine, and drumming in particular is even more beautiful blessing and medicine. There are articles that say that playing drums is better than Prozac, and I believe it. Drumming helps us become in tune with ourselves, and it helps us do that in a holistic way, where we're drumming with our bodies, but we're connecting with our breath and connecting with our spirit. And then we do that with other people, and we're connecting also with them, and we're generating beautiful calm, and we're generating beautiful, sometimes it's not calm clearly because you're playing and you're into it, but you're generating wonderful, powerful energy through drumming together.